it's been resolved. Once we get that issue down, that will come out. It will be a photo ID. Several other states have it, and they've, you know, there's not a provision that can't be addressed one way or the other, where it's, well, whatever the objections to it are. But the voter ID bill will be coming out.
Well, yeah.
Currently, there are 12 House bills and 11 Senate bills on immigration-related issues. Now, if I'm not mistaken, there's only a few days, literally working days left in this session. You've addressed a couple of them. You said the voter ID bill you thought was going to roll on through, and the public contract illegal immigration, HB 36, looked like it's going to go. What about all these other bills that are hanging out there? I mean, they're all either stuck in committee. What are their chances?
I will give you my opinion, because I'm not primary sponsor on every one of those.
Right.
I think I'm a co on most of them.
Yes.
I had that concern too. I thought we had some opportunity when the crossover date was pushed back to June 6th, I think it is.
Right.
But the problem with in getting those bills moved is the getting any type of consensus or agreement with other stakeholders involved. And the second problem with it is, and the time constraint now, I think makes it impossible for some of those bills to move unless the primary sponsor on those bills is doing something I'm not aware of, which is very possible. The other problem with bills where you want to go from, you know, let's say a liberal stance or a far left position that goes to the extreme right, is it'll get vetoed.
Right.
I mean, I could not believe that the William D. Ford college loan bill got vetoed. That was about as benign of a bill as you could get. It got stamped.
Well, as you know, I work with a lot of the groups that are watching these immigration bills, and the question they wanted me to ask you is, and it's kind of an unfair question because I know you really can't answer this, but why are we passing bills to say who has the best shrimp festival? And the literally hundreds of other mundane bills, when these things some of these have been sitting in committee since March, and they're not moving. And we write and we call the committee chairmen, and we get little or no response. So is this just how we're going to play the game this year?
I saw some emails of people were saying, you know, call the committee chairman. Committee chairman's not going to put anything on that calendar if you're not ready, if the bill sponsor's not ready to move it. So I sat on 366 until I could get enough information to make sure I could defend that bill and get it through. Because the worst thing you want to do is go in with your bill unprepared, have it voted down, and you're done. So if the bill sponsor isn't prepared, doesn't think his bill stands a chance of getting out of committee or onto the floor, he's not going to move that bill. And it doesn't do any good to pressure the committee chair because it's not his call.
Okay. Well, who would you suggest?
The primary sponsor.
Primary sponsor.
The way they changed it this year, they did a couple things. The Republicans did a couple things this year. If you look back at some of the bills, like I pulled a bill up from 2006. It was bill number 2,207.
Phew.
Filed that year. And that year is only 6 months long. So it hadn't been filed sometime between January 26th and, you know, maybe March 31st. 2,200 bills at that point. I don't know how far it went. But the Republicans, when they came in, the House rules they made up for people to comply with was, number one, you can only be the primary sponsor of 10 bills. Boy, you should have heard the veterans screaming holy murder. 10 bills? I got 50 been sitting here that couldn't get out of committee before. And so what they'd do is, you know, pick the 10 best, the 10 they cared the most about. And then the other thing was you could only have 4 primary sponsors. The bill I pulled up, 2207, had, I think, 8 primary sponsors listed on it. And the new rule was you can only have 4. Well, if you have 4 primary sponsors, who does that count? Does all 4 of them, does that count as one bill? And no, the rule was if your name's first on that bill, that's your primary bill.
Makes sense.
Y'all with me on that?
Yeah.
So you could be a primary sponsor on 50 bills, but as long as you weren't the first name on there, you didn't have any bills against your 10. And so what I did was I made sure I wasn't first on any. So the person you write to is whose name is first on that